in the early 90s, Nickelodeon gave us a cartoon that was crude, violent, surreal, disgusting, and utterly brilliant. While other kids were watching safe, squeaky clean Saturday morning shows, there was Ren and Stimpy, the deranged brainchild that somehow snuck its way into children's programming and blew the doors off the animation world. This wasn't just a cartoon, it was a revolution. And it was weird, gloriously weird. Ren and Stimpy premiered in 1991, created by Canadian animator John Krafolosi, aka John K., as part of the original Nicktoons lineup alongside Doug and Rugrats. But while those other shows were wholesome and safe, Ren and Stimpy felt like it was a broadcast from a mental asylum. It followed the bizarre friendship between Ren Hoek, a psychotic, neurotic chihuahua, and Stimson J. Cat, a fat, dim-witted feline. And that was about it. No moral lessons, no emotional development, just chaos. Beautiful animated chaos. But the simplicity of the premise was a red herring. Beneath the surface, the show was doing things no cartoon had ever dared to do before. Let's talk about the art. Because Ren and Stimpy didn't just look different, it felt different. And background art that looked like it was painted by someone who dropped acid and then took an anatomy class. You'd go from a goofy cartoon face to an uncomfortably realistic close-up of a diseased tongue, a bulging eyeball, or a rotting tooth. These were called gross-ups, and they were hand-painted in absurd detail on purpose. And here's the kicker. Instead of consistent expressions, each face was unique. Characters would morph from scene to scene depending on their emotion. It wasn't just stylized, it was expressionism in motion. This wasn't just for the laughs. It was a middle finger to the stiff, formulaic animation of the 1980s. No more cookie-cutter Saturday morning slop. This was art. The sound design? Equally unhinged. No generic cartoon boings here. Ren and Stimpy used a massive library of public domain music and sound effects. 1930s jazz, big band scores, weird percussion. It made every episode feel like a fever dream scored by a demented Looney Tunes composer. And then there were the voice performances. Ren was voiced by John K. himself in the early episodes, channeling Peter Lorre with a nervous breakdown. Stimpy was voiced by the legendary Billy West, who later played Fry, Zap Brannigan, and the Red M&M. Their chemistry? Unmatched. And let's not forget about the absurdity. One episode was about a man who collects hairballs. Another was about a diaper-wearing superhero called Powdered Toast Man. And yes, he flew backward, because why the not? Here's the thing, Ren and Stimpy shouldn't have been on kids' TV. It had violence, sexual innuendos, dark humor, and emotional instability that bordered on psychosis.